Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Oh, people are joining in. I see Rohan here. We'll wait for more people to join in. Hi, Aisha. Oh, Anuja's here. Hi, Anuja. Is Pradipta also here? Hello, Sridhar. Hi, Kirne. Welcome, everyone. I hope all of you are safe and thank you so much for joining us. Hello. Oh, Pradipta is also here. So thank you so much. Welcome to Kashish Live Chats, and thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin, I hope all of you have made note of the change in dates of the festival. The new dates are in August. We are coming to you a bit late, but better late than. Okay, so the dates are August 19th to September 5th. Kashish is going to happen over 3 weekends. I hope you have marked your calendars. So today's live session, it's a very very special session for many reasons. Today we are going to focus on we are going to talk in general about the changing graph of LGBTQIA plus movies over the years, and we are really happy to have two very very dear friends who are not only my friends. I met them at Kashish. They have been friends of the festival for many years. Very good filmmakers, both of them extremely talented, and both of them have won at Kashish. Both of them have won the Riyad Wadia Award, which is an award given to the young and emerging filmmakers. Both of their films have, because of the festival or through the festival, not only have garnered a lot of love at the festival. They have been traveling to other festivals as well internationally, and they have also been distributed through Kashish to an online platform. So we are going to talk about all of that. So without much ado, I'm going to add both Rohan and Pradipta. Pradipta, could you please send a request? Yeah, I've added Rohan. Are you there? Rohan has been invited. Hello. Hi.
Hi, hi, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All well. I'll just add Pradipta too. I
Yeah,
cannot. Can I see? I saw Pradipta has
yeah,
joined
yes, yes.
the live. Yeah, but I cannot find. Um, oh, there you are. Yes, I will send an invite. I think Pradipta should be able to join us very soon. There you
Hi.
go.
Yes. Technologically,
Happens
little.
to all of us. Happens to all of us.
No, no.
How
I
are
hate
you?
this. Uh, I am good. How are you, Rohan?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So I kind of don't like Insta Live. It's always been a disaster for me. So, and because I try lots of things like logging on from the computer, from iPad, and then end up doing it from my mobile phone, which is now like 3 years old, and the camera is horrible. So today I've set up some lighting so that I don't look out of focus and blurred.
Not at all, brother. You're looking lovely, as always,
Thank
as
Yeah,
always.
yeah,
Thank you.
I am going to come to you. Like I said, both of you have been making films for years now, and you have been a Kashish, festival friend for many years. Brother, you have not only made films, you have also been a part of the preview team. You have watched films. You know,
No,
uh,
I haven't.
You have. Oh, okay. So, sorry, my mistake. But you've been associated with the festival in many other ways. Not only filmmaking. You
I've
have.
been doing. I have animated the festival
Right,
promo as well.
the logo, right, my mistake. Tell me, all I know is I know you have a background, you're from the National Institute of Design, you have a design background. So, could you tell us a little bit about, your background and how you entered filmmaking, and then we'll talk about the films that you made.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so happened that ever since I was a little child, I was always very influenced by Raj Kapoor films, and so his films kind of inspired me to someday become a filmmaker like him. As a child growing up in 70s and 80s in Calcutta, in a middle class Bengali household where you have
Yeah.
some non-Bengali speaking neighbors, so you do have Hindi cinema influence
Right.
somewhat. Otherwise, trust me, there used to be none those days. Bengalis, they used to like really look down. The middle class Bengalis used to really look down upon Hindi, popular Hindi cinema. But so I was inspired by Raj Kapoor films, and yeah, and my mother wanted me to join NID. So after I did finish my fine arts, I had a pressure, unlike most of us who would have family pressure to become doctor, engineer, or whatever, very heteronormative. If
The
one may
usual, the
call
usual
them.
option.
Yeah. So I had this pressure of going to NID. So I was like, Film Institute to hone se raha. Because my mother loved me so much. So I had to go to NID. And then those days they did not have a PG course in film. Later on they started. So I thought that, and I wanted to learn filmmaking, so I thought, let me do animation. It's also filmmaking, right? It's only the medium is different. So I could draw. So I had taken up animation. I mean, I'm okay. I mean, not bad. I'm quite good at it, maybe. That's what people say, but that's just because I just know how to draw. And then I had the opportunity of working with some like really great animators. So that's how filmmaking. It really didn't start. It always was there, and hence shifting to Mumbai after finishing animation, there was no other city for that matter. I mean, there was no other option. I had to make Hindi films. But then, people change and your narratives change in our heads. And the kinds of films that one would set out to make would also change. No? I mean, depending upon our experiences
Right.
and the context surrounding it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Krishna, I will come back to you, but now, Rohan, if you could tell us a little bit about, how you started, the filmmaking, your journey began before I come to both of you and ask you about your film.
Yeah. So like when we were kids, my father used to take us to movies and in theaters. So we have been going to the theaters since childhood. But in where I grew up in that lane, many of my friends never knew what is the theater actually is. So we were glad that my father used to take us to the theater to watch movies. So that was the first love, going to the theaters and watching movies.
Right,
And
right.
as a child, I always used to think, like as a child, I want to be an actor. So that. But later, as I grew up and started watching different cinema, I mean, like, I think different as in some offbeat Hindi movies or Marathi movies. I used to like them more than this Bollywood commercial films. But I never had that thought, I would want to make one. But I was attracted to. Then,
Right.
as I was finishing my school, I had started writing short stories. They were actually bad, but my classmates used to love it. So I used to keep writing. So then I joined interior designing. Even there, I was writing stories, and my classmates used to read. Then in third year, one of my classmates had made a short film, and they had won an award. So everyone in the class was congratulating him. And suddenly I was like, oh, that guy made a movie already. Then why can't I make? I already write short stories. I would also want to make, but I had no idea how to make it. I didn't even have camera, anything. And that time, the mobile camera phone was just a new thing, and only I didn't even have mobile that time. We couldn't afford mobile, so I had no tools to even make anything. So it was just a dream. Then when I started working as an interior designer, one of my friends, she saw this article about making a short film and stuff. So she started forcing me, हम लोग कुछ तो बनाते हैं, तेरे पास short story कुछ तो बनाते हैं. And then how we were thinking how. And then one of my school friend, he said that he has computers, so he can help us editing movie on Windows Movie Maker then. So, and he only gave us his mobile, which had camera in it. So we used it for one day, and we friends only made a film. Then he helped us edit, but we could not finish editing because that time desktop घर का it didn't have that good configuration, तो हमेशा वो hang होता था और हमारा editing कभी खत्म ही नहीं हुआ. But that was the time, I was like, okay, forget this movie now. If it's not happening, not happening. But I want to make another film, and I want to make it. So again, borrowing his mobile camera, I made another film. But thankfully, I could finish that, and that was for my own sake, for my own satisfaction. I didn't have to send it anywhere. So I made that film, and then I just showed it to my neighbors and friends. They all liked it. So since then, it actually started. I started making more and more and more films. And then I started watching tutorials on YouTube, and that's how and of course I was watching a lot of movies. I had subscribed to 70mm video library, so every day I used to get 2 DVDs. So, and mostly that time I used to watch world cinema. So I was watching those movies. So I had some sense what I want to make, but I was really amateur at that time. But I was making, and that's when in 2013 my film went to Kashish. But a year before that, one of my friends, he took me to Kashish. I had never been to Kashish. He took me to Kashish on weekends because he had off on weekends. So he don't chal to me. That's when we went. And when I was watching films and those filmmakers were coming on stage and talking about their inspiration and everything, I was like, what? I want to be there next year. And it was, I told it to myself, I want to be there next year. And Abhay was there. And I met Abhay there, and Abhay was like, Rohan, tu yahan pe? And I was like, yeah, I came. Okay, Arey, tu bhi bana. So Abhay knew me already. So I was like, tu bhi bana, kuch to banate yaar, kuch to banate. And that's when we made Ekta Bhinti, and then next year it was at Kashish. So that's how my festival journey actually started. And then I kept making films, and yeah. So I'm still pursuing my filmmaking career.
Rohan, you mentioned about going to the theater. I think all of us are missing that for sure.
Yeah.
At this time.
Yeah.
But also you mentioned about Ekta Bhinti. So that was your first short film, right? Which went to Kashish. Which year was this? 2000.
It was 2013. So that was my first film that actually went to any festival for the first time. So before that, I was just making film and showing it to my friends only. So that was the first time I participated in a festival. Yeah.
Right. And then Pradipta, for you, what was the first memory of your film being shown at Kashish? It was, I think, 2013, 14, 12.
12
Raat
was
Baki.
my first film.
Raat Baki.
Raat Baki. I would like to add, like what Rohan said, and very nicely, he just spoke about his first experience at Kashish. Yeah, even one of my students, his student's film was screened at Kashish, and he was like, "Oh, you're my mother, so you have to come." So I went there, and even what Rohan was saying, sharing that, looking at other filmmakers when they've been like called upon on stage and to receive the award or talk about their films and their journey. Yeah, that's so kind of inspiring. Me, Rohan.
Yeah.
I think one of the driving forces, like.
But even now, whenever I go to Kashish or any other, I don't generally go to other festivals, but Kashish. So whenever I don't have film, but I see other filmmakers going there, I keep like, Arey banana, I have to make another film. So that feeling you get always. So,
yeah, that's
still,
kind of a
still
constant
thrills
reminder
you
that you don't wake up, you've not submitted a film for quite
it's still
some time.
it is very thrilling even now, like even during Usha, when they were screening the film in Kashish, I was still shaking, like how the audience will react and all that, with those feelings. And then after the screening, I have to go there. I was still, even I was so nervous to go on stage after this. I still get, those goosebumps and scary feelings. So yeah,
Always,
going to the
I
festivals
can
and
totally understand. Yeah.
I still have that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah,
stage
yeah,
fright that I have,
yeah,
and I can. Very, very successfully, I put up a facade that
yeah.
these things don't really matter to me. But genuinely, seriously had stage fright.
Yeah, but and now, with this, I feel like no, we have to go there in front of the audience, meet them, talk to them, and have that interaction. Now you feel that.
Right, right. The first the live interaction after watching a film,
Yeah,
and it's almost immediate. Where where people start clapping if they like something, they start cheering, and it's such a boost when
yeah.
the whole film watching experience just changes automatically when there's an audience involved. So, Pradeep,
Yeah, yeah.
do you remember your first time going up on stage while you won? I think both of you have won the Riyad Wadia award.
Yeah,
You won
yeah,
it
yeah.
for Raat Baki, and in 2012, Rohan, you won it, for Ekta Binti in 2013. So how was that experience going on stage for and getting that, kind of a push from the festival and the jury members?
Oh, it was fabulous. I mean, never expected, and then suddenly the name was announced. So it was like really overwhelming at that point of
Yeah.
time.
And surprising, you were.
Yeah, because I was like, and I always considered myself as a filmmaker who had started like rather very late in life, and I was quite old. Let me not give out the real age. Yeah, I was quite old. I mean, I started very late, so that's why I added to Rohan saying that how Kashish, I mean, going to Kashish inspired him to come on, you have to make a film. I also shared the same sort of experience
Sentiment,
that
yeah.
as a city, Mumbai has so many options, and then I have always wanted to do not only stick to films, but so many other things I get involved in. And many years passed, without even me making my first film. So yeah, so that first time I went to Kashish with my students, I mean, to be able to watch my
Right.
students' film.
But then you've been coming
That's when,
repeatedly, right? And the kind of films that
yeah,
especially the
yeah,
themes that you have explored in your films, it's be it Raat Baki, you have where you have a trans person, you have a heterosexual couple, a homosexual couple, and all kinds of things come up, somehow merge. You've tried to explore that, but then you have also explored a ghost story, which is so very unique because usually, like we are talking about, changing narratives. Usually, most of the time, even the submissions that used to come, if what I've heard from Shrikdar also has mentioned in many interviews before, the kind of topics that were being dealt before, mostly was like, there an identity crisis, and the protagonist is like, I don't know what's going on. From that, we have slowly moved, and we have come to a point where we see films which are, many of the things have been normalized, and people are. It's not only about LGBTQ life, about a day in the life of a person, which going to other issues, so many other issues, working professionals having their facing problems. There's so many. The narratives have changed. So for you, tell us about the three films that you have made. You have tried to explain. Can you take us a bit through the themes, how you, why you wanted to tell those stories, especially the ghost story, which is like really a spooky one. And of course, then we have Easy, which is also a lot of, interpersonal relationships. And Rohan, you also, having started with Ekta Binti, and then you have gone ahead and made Sundar, and which I'll come to it, where you have, the person tries to explore his sexuality, and then of course Uparusha, which all deals with so many layers. It's not only about just a lesbian story. There's so much more. There's lots of exploration about class, etc. going on. So whoever wants to go first, Pradipta, maybe you and
Let
then Rohan.
Pradipta, yeah. Let Pradipta go first.
Okay.
Okay.
He won first
Okay.
award, so let him go.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so see, Raat Baki was, I would say that was a phase as a filmmaker, where one was sort of trying to figure out which story to say. And
Right.
hence, like trying to cover, I mean, give a glimpse of
Mm.
a bisexual guy, a heterosexual
Mm.
guy, a gay guy, a gay
Mm.
bottom, and a trans person.
Mm.
So it
Mm.
was sort of trying out. I think I would call it that Raat Baki was a platform or a canvas where one was really trying to understand, in terms of like cinematically, which is. I mean, which character is more probably workable for me or not. Then Edie, I again based on true people, and
Mm.
I mean some of them actually just played themselves, and so that is the phase when one was trying to, I think I would say, documenting queer lives or queer characters in this country, which is, I think, as a design educator, I think, which is documentation is a very, very important,
Mm. Right.
thing, which
Right.
as a country, as a nation, we've like been avoided it for the longest time.
Right. And it's so important to have
And
that
yeah,
on record.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think documenting these characters, because I mean, real documentaries would be only so many, right?
Right.
But every time we are telling a story or a queer themed story or a film, we are talking about our contemporary characters, right? The setups, the scenarios. I mean, so you are really not only talking about the struggle of that XYZ number of characters, but
Mhm.
you are by default documenting the context as well. I mean, what is going on in the, I mean, where in terms of the society or the way people think or behave, or what things are happening around them, everything one is documenting. So I thought that instead of just like if the story is 100% fiction, I mean, there is no harm in doing it. I mean, again, taking inspiration from real events. I thought this would be probably yet another way of experimenting, that where you work with the real people and it's actually their real story. Yeah, you fictionalize, I mean, you
Right.
add a little bit of drama here and there, but pretty much most of like the main structure remains the same. And I think that really prompted me to really understand how to deal with subtleties. When 100% fiction format or stories we are creating, we get little technical about, I mean, very clinical about, putting our pointers or meanings into the story. But when you are dealing with real characters, the stories and their situations become led by default. And then again, as a filmmaker or as a film person, then when you look back, it sort of gives you a better understanding of how to deal with fiction in future. But other than that, I genuinely feel that some characters have to be documented so that एक दिन जब हम सब मर जाएंगे, another 100 years from now, I don't know if all our, like Rohan's films, my films, if they're available. I mean, obviously, history is always rewritten. There is a different kind of politics into it, right? I mean, through the ages, we have seen for years. I mean, that's a different politics, which would be inevitable. But still, so that is why, I mean, documentation of the time becomes more important.
Like
So,
the
and-
representation matters.
yeah. So with that, another thing that got to me, or that occurred to me, is normalization. Because by the time I started making ED, sort of by watching other queer themed films, I felt that in India we were still making too many films about the the sadness and the struggles of the queer characters. By saying this, I'm not saying that there aren't, but the stories, I mean, when you are making films, at least that's what I believe, that to be able to normalize, you still have to give them other stories as well. It's not, I mean, that's absolutely my take on
Right.
the subject.
Right.
That, yeah, I mean, some people do have a very, very sad state and all of that, but then to be able to normalize, you need to have other stories as well. Like, for example, how Rohan is also being dealing with themes other than just an individual and his or her own struggle. Right. So,
Right.
and from that perspective, I thought, let me make this horror film. Because normalization will happen when you have dealt with different genres of films and, different kinds of stories where, I mean, it just so happened that their sexuality is of, I mean, whatever they are. But that's really not the main important part of the film. Because Guy Next Door could have happened to any heterosexual guy or a heterosexual girl. It could have happened to anybody. So that
Right.
is pretty much in a nutshell, quite elaborate, I think it was, like how my sort of idea has changed.
Right. No, you put it very beautifully, because also, EG, I remember, it ends on such a hopeful note, even though, there is sadness. Of course, everyone has their own struggles. We all are struggling in some way or the other. But, there's some ray of hope. And as cinema, as filmmakers, if you can manage to do that, it ultimately brings a, smile on everyone's face. And, it just reinforces the fact that, okay, yes, there is still hope left. Which of course Rohan's film uh, often end on such powerful images. So Rohan, could you please take us through the films that were shown at Kashish in this context?
Yeah, so with me, it's usually, it starts either with the stories that I've heard, or suddenly, sometimes just randomly you see some image and you start thinking about it and some stories emerge. So with
Right.
Ekta Binti was like, I had heard some stories about incest. So I was quite fascinated with those. And so those stories inspired me to write Ekta Binti. So anyway, I mean, like many people, just today I was talking about it to someone, and I said that many people were disturbed by it. Some were even angry because of it, because of the film's content. But for me, even now, when I write a film, I never think what kind of impact I want on audience, or I want to give some message, or I want to shock them, or make them sad or laugh. I don't think about that at all. What I always do is just the seed, the ideas or experiences that come together to form this story. I just try to follow that seed and literally surrender to that, because that seed ultimately tells me how the story should go ahead, what should be the climax, even the style of its visuals, sound, and everything. What will be the takeaway that I know at the end of the story. So I actually follow that. So with Ekta India, I never had this thought of trying to portray some bold story or anything. It just, for others it was bold, but honestly for me it was, I never thought about it like a bold film. So it was that. But yeah, so I made it, but then yeah, I mean, because of its content, and then when I heard some responses about it later on, I was like, I started not to show to anyone. I stopped speaking about it. But yeah, then I made Sundar, and Sundar ka story is more like Kashish had shifted to this Liberty in 2014.
Right.
So we were there, and because I was thinking about Sundar, and I knew that it is also going to be in black and white, and the aspect ratio will be 4:3 and all that stuff. And apparently, Mitra was there that year, and even that one had 4:3 aspect ratio. I don't think 4:3, but it was black and white. And then that
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
screen. When I was watching that film, I because I had already written the script and I knew what the climax ka shots, how those gonna be. So while watching Mitra, I was imagining my film being projected on that huge screen. And again, I was like, with that huge screen in my mind, I was then working on this Sundar, and thankfully it got selected in 2015, and I saw that there. And even Sundar was just, it was inspired by one of this person who used to stay in our locality when I was a kid, who was effeminate, and people used to tease him and all that stuff. So in
Right.
that during Dandiya they used to bully him. So I had that person was the inspiration, and for a very long time for many years I was watching him, but I never thought that I wanted to write something about this person. But then yeah, there was
And
point.
the film won. That year you won the Best Indian Narrative Shot along with another,
Yeah,
Vivek
yeah,
Vishwanathan's film, A Full Stop,
yeah,
That Searches for Its End. That was another
yeah.
film. And so both of you jointly had won the Best Narrative Shot. And I distinctly remember the climax because, honestly, most film festivals across the world, I have spoken to programmers, they are scared, of they usually do not prefer black and white films because digital black and white is not that great to look at, It's not film, right?
Yeah,
But you have actually managed to use that entire black and white. You see the film in black and white because the climax is going to be in color, and that
yeah,
suddenly leaves that such a big impact. So
yeah,
how did
yeah.
you design it? And you must have designed it. Have you thought through at the scripting stage itself? Were you clear that this is
So
how you want to
first,
approach the film?
yeah, so first I wrote it as a short story. I had no intention to make a
Right.
film. So I wrote
Mhm.
it as a short story, and then the making
Yeah.
film of it started slow. The discussion slowly happened. Then I wrote the script. So script climax was different than story. In the story, that
Mhm.
Jayu, when he goes to help that girl to dress up and all, in the story he goes back to his own house and sleeps. He
Uh,
never gets to go and dance over there. But in the script, because it was a movie, it was not a story, we had to change it. So then I thought, what, how will this guy, if he has to go there, how will he get that happiness? So I was like, this will be something interesting if he goes there alone late in the night and gets his happiness all alone. But that was not, and most of the time I never outline or I know what this will be the end of the script or story. It's usually with my process is usually for a very long time, for sometimes even for years, I have idea in my head. I just toy with that idea sometimes. On and off, some scenes will come to my head, and that's it. But then there's one point where the idea is so strong, then that's when I feel okay, now it's time to write this, and I just start writing it in a script format. I don't even do outline because for me, I tried doing outlining once, it didn't work for me. So I just
right.
directly jump into the script. Of course, and then you make many drafts to then actually flesh that script out. So when I was writing the script, it just in that flow that climax came. So but even in that flow, in first draft, the climax was still in black and white and everything was that.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was having discussions with friends and we were discussing, suddenly then one friend suggested, why don't you do one thing, why your film is black and white, तो किसको पता चलेगा उसने red साड़ी पहना है या green साड़ी पहना है या क्या पहना है. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So I was like, because we have been seeing all this K serials then, तो बीच में कभी flashback में black and white पे सिर्फ सिंदूर लाल होता था या ऐसा कुछ. So like, चलो वैसा कुछ करते हैं, we'll make this only Jayu का साड़ी red. बाकी सब black and white. And then they were like, who will give you money for all that graphics? And I was like, oh yeah, right. But then suddenly, then I was like, then let's do one thing. Let's do the climax completely in color. And that's how during the discussions that idea emerged, and that's when I incorporated in it, which I really miss now because in last 2 years I've not been able to have this kind of discussion. But anyway, so during that time, during discussion, that idea came, and that's when we
Right.
incorporated it, and finally it happened. So that was the story of Sundar. And in during Usha, though, there was no idea, nothing. But for a very long time, I also wanted to make a film about a lesbian character, but I didn't have any story. So,
Okay.
so Chaya Kadam, who's one of the renowned Marathi actress, she told me her desire to play a lesbian character. So
Mhm.
that gave me push. Okay, I also wanted to make a lesbian film. Now she's telling me that she wants to play, so I need to write something. And already I had this in my mind that if I'm making another gay LGBT film, gay or lesbian, whatever, I want to put it in a remote village because with my ex-colleagues when I was working full-time into design with my ex-colleagues, I used to have this discussion on and off, that this gay and all, this is not Indian, it's all Western, wo wahan se yahan pe aaya hai, or it's urban thingy and all. So I wanted to break, and I used to always tell them, I know few people who are from remote village. They didn't have access to watch any Brokeback Mountain or anything, but still they feel that. So how do you explain that? How do they feel that? Because it's natural. That's why they are feeling that, right? But they didn't have any answer. So I always wanted to do something about that. So I thought, if I put this character in a remote village, that will be something new for me also because I wanted to go out because most of the time my films were inside the house or nearby this interior places. So with this, I had this chance to go completely out of the city and constrained spaces and do something more. So with Chaya's suggestion, I started thinking about it, and just one day, this thought sometimes come randomly at any time. So I was just taking a bath, and this image came to my head that this woman is walking on this barren land and she's going to work and there's some guy on motorcycle is following her. That was the image I got first, and I was like, okay, why is he following her? And that's how that story started taking shape. And then one day I just wrote it, and I was clear that I want to make a story very understated, and it needs to have something more than sexuality. And
Right. Right. Like we were
it's
talking about
very
representation also, in the beginning, that even your film, like you said, we haven't had that many rural representation, especially when we are talking about the LGBTQ spectrum. Sridhar has
yeah.
actually put up a comment where, it says, it's a lovely conversation. It's so difficult for independent filmmakers to make LGBTQ films. And of course, Pradipta, there's a comment for you also because you're the only, I think, he says you are the only transgender filmmaker in India who's been consistently making films. Brother, you tell me, when you look at, I was looking at the credits of your film. Most independent filmmakers, of course, it is very difficult to make independent films. That to a queer film, sometimes you have actually managed to work with some of the best technicians. You have worked with cinematographers who are now have made such like I think Edhi was shot by Ramanuj, who has done so many feature films, and some of them have also won awards. You've worked with there was Anubhuti Kashyap, a part of your film. Even the sound was done by Gautam Nair, who I think he's a magician. Every other
Yeah.
good independent film that's going and doing the rounds of festivals, Gautam Nair is a part of it. So, tell me how that happened, how you managed to get them. Did you already know them? Did you study together? How did that happen?
Okay, so yeah, Rama was introduced to me through a friend. I mean, through my student, who is my gay daughter, uh, uh, at a at Dialogues. They have a film festival in Calcutta.
Right.
So yeah, Raat Baki was screened there, and Rama was there, and he was there, and then I was just planning to shoot Edhi soon enough, so I was introduced to Rama. And then because Rohan would understand when we are shooting in a different city, if even if you know one person, through that person you want to sort of start your networking, because I mean, I know I was born and brought up in Calcutta, but professionally I know nobody. So so Anirban introduced me to Rama, and then I got hold of him. I'm like, okay, so you are doing my shooting my film. And then again, Obro, when it's for a favor, I mean, that's so nice, sweet of him to say yes, because we were still not friends, right? Like Anubhuti and all,
Right.
they are all friends, but Rama and me, we were not friends. But
Right.
very sweetly he agreed to shoot Edie.
Mhm.
I mean, I was lucky. And then the others are, so then so happened that after I shot Edie, I did a little patch shoot also, for which I had to go back to Calcutta. And then there was no money left with me. I mean, I had become broke. So I had to ask for money. So that's how Anubhuti, and Anubhuti's been a friend forever. So all our projects, we are always sort of discussing with each other. So that's how. So she's one of the then people who funded, I mean,
Okay.
contributed towards completion of the film. And then Gotham, I can't remember how. I think probably I got to know him through Sudev or somebody. Because Sudev Nair, who acted in Raat Baki, is from FTI. Gotham
Oh.
is also from FTI.
Right.
Or
Right.
someone else suggested, but Gotham is such a, I would say magician is an understatement, because how I recorded Edie, because these were not actors, right? They're real people. You can't, it's very difficult to, get it dubbed by them. Really make them sound the same how they sounded during the take. And I had a recorder. I had just bought the recorder. I had no idea how to record, and there was no sound recordist on ED, because I mean, you had to cut down on budget. When you have a cinematographer who is a professional person, you have to give the cinematographer enough lights and, I mean, some budget for
Right.
assistants and lights and all. And there was no budget for sound. I thought, oh, I'll manage. So I just kept the sound recorder on for all the takes, but then much later I realized, after you just do the mistakes and then you realize that either you attach a mic or you keep the recorder hidden somewhere but very close to the characters. Otherwise, you're just really making the sound designer's life hell. So Gotham somehow rescued the film, I would say, the soundtrack. So he, I mean, there were scenes where you don't realize when you're shooting that the sounds are actually echoing. It's only when it goes to the sound recordist, the sound designer, then he or she will tell you that, oh, okay, this is, needs to be dubbed. But
Yeah.
there was nothing, I mean, there was no option for dubbing. So I think Gotham was like, he did a fabulous job, but worked really hard for like really no money, almost no money. So yeah, so that's how. And then I've been working, as I told you, I started very late. So
Yeah.
what happens is, when you've been working for a long time, then already your contemporaries, they're already established in their respective fields. So, and more or less, all my friends and contemporaries, they're into the similar business. So what happens is, when you need favors, you ask friends, and they'll know all the, like, people who are already established names. Yeah, so
Right.
that's how I just catch hold of
No, that's
people.
wonderful, because you are working and you know people, and it's so kind of people to just come together. And that's even filmmaking is such that you're as a director, you see something, you envision something, and then the everyone just comes to support you, and suddenly eventually that magic happens, and when the film gets made, it's just once it's done in
and
retrospect,
my
you realize
films are mostly made here in Mumbai. So, and then
Yeah.
more or less people know in the industry, at least the film industry, everybody knows about Kashish. So when you know that you're associated with Kashish, then convincing people also becomes easier. So they know that it's not entirely. मतलब दान ध्यान नहीं हो रहा है entirely, because these films have a platform even in India, a very serious platform to showcase and all of that. I think also adds on to gives you a better sort of position to convince professionals to
Right.
sort of help you out.
which is yes, actually now in the last few years we have seen there's actually a really the films that come to us, they're no longer, you can't call them amateur films, because people who are making films, they actually, the sound is proper, the cinematography is nice, and all the aspects it shows. Even the student films, the students that send to us, it doesn't look like an amateur work. People have actually, thought out. They have even the script, even at the scripting stage, it shows that they have been mentored properly, or even, the student work. Some of the finest, actually, some of the most memorable films I have seen are student work also. So which is
Yeah.
really really inspiring. We have a comment here by Aditya Yadav. Hi Aditya. He says it's so inspiring to hear how much efforts, emotions, different real life incidences, memories, societal challenges are involved to make these movies. Respect for the LGBTQ plus movie makers. I totally agree with you. It's there's so much at stake. And that's also, one of the things. I mean, we are running out of time. Before quickly, if we could just add, because there's a boom of, there are many queer stories that are coming out. Kashish is of course a platform to showcase such stories. On the OTT platforms also we have many stories coming out. But it's also great to see people from within the community going ahead and telling their own stories. And we have both of you who have been consistently doing that. Before we leave, can you tell us a little bit about what is your next step? What are you making? What are you planning? Have you written something? What's happening on that front?
Start with Rohan now.
Yes, Rohan, what have you been writing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing,
I know
but of
you've
course
been
I
writing something, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, we've been speaking, but yeah, I mean, it's so early that I can't talk about it because I'm just at writing, so there's no point talking about it. But yeah, I'm like writing and simultaneously trying to find finance for it. And one of the things we were talking about is that letting LGBTQ filmmakers giving the chance and platform to tell their own stories. This is what the allies, they can help doing that. Empower the LGBT filmmakers to tell their own stories. So you know so maybe then the stories will also be little different than what stereotypes we still now see in the films. And there will be really, and with when we tell our stories, we come with our own life experiences, so those become even more real. And maybe sometimes if those emotions are very true. So I think with those things in mind, I think LGBT filmmakers should be given chances to tell their own stories and should be given platforms to present those films. So yeah, that's what I feel. And we've been now struggling to raise finance for our new film, but I just hope that that happens and we get to make this film.
I'm sure. But you said something so important, that the gaze, the insider's viewpoint automatically changes a lot of things. And yes, we Sridhar also mentioned about Gaga Ulala. Gaga Ulala is a Taiwanese LGBT focused OTT platform. And it is showing a lot of, I mean, usually it has South Asian films. It has a lot of Indian films too that has, been showcased at Kashish in the past years. Both your films are running there, so
Yeah. Rohan's and mine, both our films are there.
Yeah.
So
those of you are, those of you are watching, you can go and check out their films on Gaga Ulala. It's streaming there. Yeah.
And I think if Kashish hadn't started, then all these avenues wouldn't have opened up for the independent Indian filmmakers who are dealing with queer themed films, right?
Yeah.
And initially, I'm sure even Rohan would also probably agree that when we started off, we would sort of use our own money or take money from friends,
Or no money.
or no money, just
Literally.
pulling favors. But now gradually there are a lot of patrons of Kashish as well, like this Lotus Visual. They've been funding lots of films. Then Kashish, the festival itself, Kashish is also funding some films, right?
Right, they have a grant.
Selecting, they have a grant. So all these are making
The Q Drishti grant, which the winner
Q
actually
Drishti
gets a
grant.
chance to make the next LGBT
So
themed
all
film.
of this
Yeah.
is sort of going in the right direction to sort of make sure that we have many more queer content. But only area where I think we still a bit challenged is actors. I don't know what Rohan would say.
Hmm.
Male actors playing a little effeminate role or getting the nuances right, still a bit of a struggle
This,
there.
yeah, this just reminds me when, during Sundar, when we were struggling to find these actors,
Hmm.
the two guys came just before the shoot, 2 days before the shoot, and we were there at where we shot those dandiya sequences. So these two guys came. So the only thing I told them, go and dance, because the dandiya was already happening. So I said, go and dance. And
Hmm.
when they were dancing, I started thinking, अगर ये लोग इतना straight dance करेंगे साड़ी पहन के, who will believe in that character on the film? And I was like, no, that's not happening. So yeah, I mean, it's a big struggle that finding the right actors to play those nuances right. Yeah, and that's when
Yeah,
Yogendra comes in
and
the
that's why
picture.
probably most of us, I mean, or quite a few of us, have to really work with the
Hmm.
real
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So
it's nothing against the actors, because of the fact that in the society they don't have those benchmarks or reference points. Nahi hai na?
yeah,
How would they
Hmm.
understand? And you don't expect uh, an actor who is say barely 25 years old to have the amount of acting experience which a Nawazuddin or a
hmm.
Nasruddin Shah would have. Uh, or I mean, not to speak of the fact that even getting them to play in independent films. By saying this, I'm not saying that they would not agree, but then your character might. I mean, what to do? What do you do when you have younger characters?
Hmm.
Right,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
then they're like really struggling still. But it's that's as a society where we still stand. That लगता है इनका ये लोग कैसे करते हैं? I mean, if that is the way an actor addresses or sort of starts off thinking that मुझे इनकी जैसा acting करना है, तो already you have sort of alienated yourself.
yeah.
then उनका इमोशंस मैं कैसे समझ पाऊंगी, ऐसा हो जाता है.
Yeah. Right. The us versus them kind of a approach.
Yeah, but then it's not their fault. I mean, we all
Right.
are sort of growing and learning
Right.
every day.
Right. So let's just hope that, with time we get to see better films, better written films, but well acted films, and I hope that's my ultimate aim, that all independent filmmakers get enough funds to make the films they want to make. You know. Thank
Yes.
you so much, Rohan. Thank you so much, Pradipta,
Thank
for
you,
all your
thank you.
kind words about
Thank you for
Kashish. Uh, thank you for giving us
thank
your
you for
time, and please keep following. Those of you who are watching, please keep following Kashish, and let's hope to see all of you at the festival in August. Till then, take care, and thank you guys. Thank you so
yeah.
much once again.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
thank
me.
you,
Bye
thank
bye.
you. Bye, bye.
Bye.